Hey, it's Mark Moppin with National Real Estate Network. I'm here with Pat Muntz today. We've been doing some seminars, some webinars, meetups, and we're really seeing something develop out of this. Is and the reason we're doing this video is for all investors that are interested in investing in real estate. There's some basics that you have to understand. So I've asked Patrick to come here and talk today, but we're seeing a trend or whatever where it's really showing that the focus that you need to have on your investment properties is in the wrong place. So this is a real important video for you to listen to, because really what we're going to get to is the crux on getting you the lowest cost money, and the focus hasn't been there for most investors. So Patrick, can you give us some background, kind of like help us understand this better?
Hi, I'm Patrick Muntz, and I want to share with you what might be going on as to any confusion you may have as to how to direct your resources and focus your attention in the investment game. What we had during the Great Recession was subsequent legislation that created a lot of protections for consumers. After that, the investors ran for the hills and the lenders, because of the fact that they didn't want to loan to consumers with those protections. And now you know why you need a business in order to get loans for real estate. Anything over 4 families is considered a business loan or a commercial loan.
Patrick, what I hear you saying in this is that really the focus for most investors is they're going after the hard money, or they're still trying to go after mortgages or loans like that, when their focus should be where the money's the cheapest and the best right now, which is to go after a business loan. Am I correct?
Yeah, and in order to be an investor, one must invest, and in order to be an investor, one must have a business to get a loan for.
And there's where the issue is, and what we've been seeing is that people don't have the business, or they don't
or
the
command
knowledge.
of the business.
Yeah.
What we find is a lot of the questions we get are, how do I do this? How do I do that? What schedule should I use? And you should already be there after the past 24 months in order to qualify for a lot of these giveaways. So, but there's no time to get started like the present if you're not.
So, and I'm doing this right off the cuff and kind of hitting you with a hard question. So, like, what are the things that, like, I'm an investor, I've got an LLC, or I've got some type of entity. So when I'm coming to make my application, what are the things that you're really looking to see to be able to get me my business?
The ability to repay. The ability to repay, the willingness to repay in terms of the credit that we see.
What would be the paperwork that they're like, what are you talking about? What would be the paperwork I need to be bringing?
You'd want to bring in the 2 years taxes for personal and business. And then we would want to see that you're you, so we bring in our driver's license and identification. Then we would be in a situation where we want to look at the cash flow, which is typically the Schedule C, which is a profit and loss statement.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people are, what's that?
Yeah, and there's no problem with asking that question.
So
you need to be deeply familiar with it.
So I'm the investor, and I'm kind of looking back in the past. I go to the accountant, he does the Schedule C's for me, so they can just need to look and see what they gave them back. Their Schedule C is going to be there.
Right.
And that's the stuff they need to put together.
Yeah, we'll believe you if you say you have a lot of deductions, but unfortunately it minimizes or trivializes your gross income or business revenues, which affect your cash flow in terms of the end interpretation. So what you're looking for is to try and strike a balance there.
So right now, at the end of March 2021, my best source as an investor for getting money, and I've got an LLC, and I've bonded the account, and I got 2 years worth of experience, and I think I'm pretty well set. So I'm coming to you, like, where are you taking me? Where are we going to get this money?
Well, there's a couple of different sources. The first sources are government loans, which are very inexpensive comparatively speaking. And then there's getting the loan, which is a whole nother matter.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that the SBA loans are difficult to achieve, and that the majority of people up till now have been in a situation where they've been rejected for these loans based on their cash flow situation, their overdrafts, their lack of collateral, so on and so forth.
And that's all the regulations are, say, the lending requirements have really loosened up like right now on that. So now's the time to be able to,
right,
or at least bring it to you to let you take a look at it.
Yeah, since February, the SBA has changed their rules through September 31st of 2021.
Yeah.
And it's relaxed to the point where you have lower debt service ratio coverages, or you can borrow more, in essence, by lowering the requirements. And also, instead of putting down 25 to 35% down, which is what some of their requirements are, and hence their desire to attach your home as a lien, and so on and so forth for SBA. You can get into stuff for 10% down, especially on loan acquisitions to buy businesses. So there's a huge opening there, window-wise, to acquire other businesses. Believe me, the startups that people get into takes years to get those going, and the failure rate's enormous. Why not buy a business that has money, cash flows, inventory, and is already alive and is going to stay alive?
So traditionally, like on trailer parks and like storage units, people are always investors are always looking for the ones that are in trouble, and the trailer parks are the more raggedy type. So now with this kind of funding, I can actually go out and find a good, strong cash flowing one that I've got financing readily available at my fingertips with the SBA with only 10% down.
Right. I think that you have to actually drill down a little bit on that, though, because you're talking about specialty properties.
Yeah.
So sort of like we never barbecue, we only grill.
I
You're going to stay away from,
well, if I was going to do a franchise business, if I was getting a franchise, it's opening up tons of doors, or buying a brick and mortar business.
No question about it. I guess what I'm kind of trying to delineate here is that, a manufactured housing park might be much more desirable in their eyes to a mobile home park.
I got you.
We're looking for collateral, not problems.
But those were opportunities that weren't there for investors.
Well, those are the lowest hanging fruit and the best opportunities.
Yeah.
But those are the ones that end up being self-funded too.
Yeah. And I think that the people that are watching, you're putting focus on single family or rougher properties where you've now got an opportunity that you could actually be going after some much bigger fish and make a lot more money. That's really what I'm saying.
Right. And the housing stock is such that what I always say, you're not looking for screwed up houses, you're looking for screwed up people, right?
Yeah. So, this has been really enlightening. And Patrick, I know that there's still a lot of investors out there where they need the transactional funding and hard money lending still. So I'm not trying to knock that. So I know that you've been working on that too. Is a few things you could say about that?
Sure. I think the most important thing is to realize that when you're being interviewed by somebody for hard money, the intent is to eliminate you rather than figure out how to do you in many cases. And the reason is because many of the clients don't have money to put into the deal. No skin in the game is a deal killer. They want to see you to have money. So and there's a million other problems. You don't have a clear plan to pay back the loan, no exit strategies of any kind, or they're too soft or too, speculative. Yeah. So there's a laundry list of the investors' objections on hard money. So the good news is that you don't need credit to do transactional funding, but it's very difficult to find. It used to be abounding everywhere, and now hardly anybody has it except for people out of state who are broker chains that are stepping all over the deal. So it becomes extremely expensive. You're going to 6 point plus land if you go that route. So the challenge, of course, is to become aware of the alternatives to hard money, or find out ways to creatively use the hard money if you're cash flowing.
So do you have access to transactional funding?
Yes, I do. I happen to have a serious amount of it, and we like it. We like the transactional funding side of it because it's modestly profitable, but it's a day-to-day offering that comes through to most people. Most people qualify.
Yeah, so
because it's rental, it's money rental.
Yeah, so like an example of like transactional funding, just one example of it is like we had a house in Taylor, Michigan, where we had it tied up on a purchase agreement. We had another buyer for it. And if the first person we bought it from knew what we were selling it for, there'd be an issue. So we used transactional funding where the closings were set. One closed and the second one closed on the same day in the same office. And that worked out great. And it was well worth the money.
Yeah.
Because we would have been hurt otherwise.
Right.
So that's the kind of deal I could buy.
Yeah, you assign the purchase agreement, it's going to show up on the HUD.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the
So
problem.
I'm just trying to give
But there's a lot of people that don't think about these things, and then it blows up at the end when somebody sees that you're making too much juice on the dough, and boom.
So
go crazy.
So how can people get hold of you then?
Oh, it'll be right on the screen. Or right after this.
Yeah, and then your website's neededfunding.com. You can go there and fill out an information sheet, take 4 or 5 minutes of contact.
Maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a short.
Yeah, just jam through it.
Yeah.
Say yes or no.
And that site also shows the different types of loans and things you do. So we really appreciate this information. Now, Pat's going to be doing another video that's going to break down this in more depth.
Yeah, I think that transactional funding is of great value to a lot of people if they can find it. The problem is you can't find it anywhere.
So just look for the other video here that says transactional funding. Thanks.